Thanks for joining us on Nationwide today, which is the last in the year 2021. Thank you so much for joining us. I am Elizabeth Omori. We begin with that 2022 budget, that 17.127 trillion naira budget of economic growth and sustainability for the year 2022 fiscal year has been formally signed into law. Also assented to is the 2021 finance bill, which is critical to the successful implementation of the budgetary provisions. President Muhammadu Buhari, who signed the documents, promised to improve the general well-being of Nigerians as well as implement measures to moderate the unintended negative effects of his administration's policies on them. State House correspondent Adamu Sambo reports.
Flanked by presiding officers of the National Assembly and some key members of the federal cabinet, President Muhammadu Buhari signs the 2022 budget of 17.127 trillion naira into law, describing it as crucial in his administration's efforts at completing and putting to use critical agenda projects as well as improving the living conditions of Nigerians.
We must continue to sustain this partnership in the interest of our people, in order to ensure the effective implementation of the budget and realization of its laudable objectives.
The budget has an increase of 735.85 billion naira over the initial executive proposal. Although the president has admitted to have authorized 186.53 billion naira of the amount for additional critical expenditure, he, however, expressed reservations about many of the changes made in form of new insertions, outright removals, reductions or increase in the amounts allocated to projects.
Provisions made for as many as 10,733 projects were reduced, while 6,576 new projects were introduced into the budget by the National Assembly. The cuts in the provisions for several of these projects by the National Assembly may render the projects unimplementable or set back their completion.
President Buhari also expressed worry that 12.6 billion naira has been reduced in the budget for rail modernization projects, 25.8 billion naira from power sector reform program, and 14.5 billion naira from various agriculture projects.
I will revert to the National Assembly with a request for amendment and or amendment as soon as the Assembly resumes, to ensure that critical ongoing projects that are cardinal to this administration and those nearing completion do not suffer a setback due to reduced funding.
Being the last full-year budget to be implemented by the Buhari presidency, its effective execution is very critical to delivering the ongoing legacy projects, promoting social inclusion and strengthening the resilience of the economy. The president therefore directed the Ministry of Finance to implement all measures required to ensure timely and targeted release of capital votes, while MDAs are to, amongst others, ensure productive use of the funds provided for the realization of the objectives set for their sectors.
Revenue generation agencies, and indeed all MDAs, must ensure prompt and full remittance of collected revenues. All borrowings will be judiciously utilized and invested in our future growth and prosperity.
The driving force is cooperation, partnership, synergy, and that understanding and mutual respect. And of course, Nigeria is benefiting from that kind of relationship.
The Senate President also reacted to the reservations expressed by President Muhammadu Buhari over the changes made to the executive budget proposals.
Mr. President is happy with the majority of what the National Assembly has done, and that's the most critical thing that we need to focus on. As for the observations Mr. President has raised, I'm happy that the President signed the budget in the first place, and he said he's coming back to the National Assembly to seek for amendments or amendments, and this is natural, logical legislative process.
So what next, sir, after the signing of this budget, sir?
Of this budget for the House of Reps? Oh, we're on vacation now. When we come back on the 18th, you'll know what's next.
This is the third consecutive year Nigeria's national budget will be implemented within the January to December cycle. From the State House, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
Into rail transportation, the $1.2 billion Kano to Kaduna standard gauge project is to be converted from a single to double tracks. Minister of Transportation Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, while inspecting the project, directed the contractors to revert to double tracks immediately. Oinaya Kaloka reports.
This is the first visit of the Minister of Transportation, Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, to the construction site of the Kano-Kaduna standard gauge line at Dawakin Kudu in Kano State. Clearing has started at the 204-kilometer project, but so far only 59 kilometers has been cleared. The minister was not impressed with the level of work. He directed the contractors to comply with the suggestion of the Federal Executive Council by converting the single track to double tracks in conformity with the original plan of the Lagos-Kano rail line project.
You said double track? Yeah, for the formation. Yeah, the formation is for double.
At the University of Transportation in Daura, Katsina State, work is slow, with only few buildings completed. The idea of breaking the project into phases did not sit well with the minister.
We agreed with what the design I approved. Then you come to site, because we're not coming to site, you now break it into what you call phase one. So 2 hostels as part of phase one, 1 faculty office as part of phase one, then 3 two classroom and 1 lab. Yeah. In your country, will you do that? Is that how they build invest in your country? What kind of engineers? Yeah, and of all people, you, CCCC, you have the most contract in Nigeria. And you're doing like person who is going to market. My 3 market in Port Harcourt to buy Gucci, Chingom. For this, let's go. You see me on the office on Tuesday.
The minister directed that both projects must be completed and inaugurated in 2022. The minister was at the palaces of the emirs of Kano and Daura and was commended for his efforts in transforming the transportation sector. This is the last assignment of the minister in 2021. Oinaya Kaloka, NTA News.
And still staying with the transportation sector, there are indications that the Lekki Seaport may be completed by the 3rd quarter of 2022. Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi gave this indication on Good Morning Nigeria while reflecting on high points on Nigeria's transportation sector in 2021. Olushe Adiagbo tells us more.
For rail transport passengers and cargo freights, 2022 looks bright. This is because a number of items proposed in the 25-year strategic master plan on rail modernization in Nigeria will be at different stages of completion. One of them is the Lekki Seaport, expected to be the deepest port in the sub-Saharan African region, says Chibuike Rotimi Amechi, Minister of Transportation.
The first seaport will be built by this government, and it's called Lekki Deep Seaport. 16 to 17 meters deep. There is none like that in Nigeria. But now with the Lekki Deep Seaport, which will be completed next year, latest September, by October, November next year, it will be put into commercial use. But that's by us, started by us.
Joining the minister to evaluate the performance of the sector, transportation experts Mani Uchubogo and Roland Ataguba spoke on other areas of impact as well as prospects for sustainability.
There has been a significant reduction in piracy, and therefore the eastern seaports are now more user-friendly, and it should encourage people to want to ship their goods through the eastern ports.
In terms of sustainability of railway, it's down to the operations. Leave the business decisions to businessmen, to entrepreneurs, to make those decisions.
Without the law, we made some steps, and the private sector didn't follow. So when I hear this allow private sector into the railway, I'm willing to do it tomorrow morning.
The minister also expresses the federal government's interest to see public-private partnership initiatives thrive in developing the country's transportation infrastructure. In Abuja, Oluseye Adiagbo, NTA News.
As rains gave way for the dry season, efforts of the federal government to complete infrastructural projects across the country is being intensified. This engineering expert and motorist noted is seen along the Calabar-Itu Highway as construction work is now in progress, with a deliberate commitment to implementation of Executive Order 5 to promote local content. Udwak Etim reports.
Sometimes we come here, we spend 4 or 5 days. Look at this one now, it will not take time, it will fell down. And that will be causing more problem every day.
2 years ago, we did protest on this road and contracts were awarded. 2 years down the line, people are still suffering, man-hour being lost on the road.
This lamentation will soon be historical as contractors are now fully working at the different portion of the Calabar to Federal Highway. On the condemnation of one of the firms handling the construction work there, engineering expert has this to say.
The barometer to judge the competence or the integrity of any infrastructure is to engage the professionals who are by practice, by knowledge, by learning, by experience, have the competence. The practical assessment of the works will inform if there is capacity or not. If you go to that project today, to that stretch of the road today, you will see Mrs. Sematech Nigerian Limited fully mobilized aside. We have to patronize the Nigerian engineers. We have to give the Nigerian engineers a chance to prove its mettle.
The engineering stakeholder commended President Buhari's Executive Order 5 on local content and appealed to relevant authorities to ensure that the order is fully implemented to encourage and empower indigenous contractors. In Calabar, Uduak Etam, NTA News.
Despite the challenging nature of the aviation industry in 2021, Nigeria was able to make a mark by breaking the jinx of stagnation occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic. While a lot of airlines were shutting down, favorable policies to attract new entrants as well as acquisition of brand new aircraft in the face of global uncertainty of the industry were put in place. Now, fasten your seatbelt as aviation correspondent Emmanuel Ayimiro takes us on Flight 2021.
Losses, shutting down of the airwaves and poor recovery characterized the aviation industry worldwide in 2021 due to the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. Despite the uncertainty in the industry, Nigeria woke up to a new dawn of progress from the beginning of the year by encouraging more investment in the industry, with the Central Bank of Nigeria and other financial institutions facilitating the acquisition of brand new cargo airline, with the Allied Cargo increasing her fleets.
The Nigerian aviation industry is opening up, more and more investments are happening. We need more and more investment in the area of aviation, and I can assure us that the Central Bank of Nigeria is ready, Nigerian banks are ready.
This new development was also followed by Air Peace acquiring more fleets, 5 out of 13 delivered so far.
We have been told by the MD of the airline that not less than 8,000 people will be gainfully employed. This is a major achievement.
2 years ago, the International Civil Aviation Organization, ICAO, recognized Nigeria in solving aviation security and oversight deficiencies, sustaining the rating and maintaining safety and security in the nation's airports. An approval of 9.5 billion naira was secured for the procurement of 8 airport rescue and firefighting vehicles, as well as 658 million naira for deployment of sniffer dogs.
Now these dogs, they would be doing, among other things, detection of bomb, detection of drugs, currency, prohibited items, explosives.
One reform that appeared controversial in the year under review is the planned concession of 4 international airports for optimum performance.
Concessioning of our airport is very necessary now. That is the global practice. Government has very little or no business in airport management.
Year 2022 is set for Nigeria's dream of floating a national air carrier, as hinted by Aviation Minister.
There's no control whatsoever management of the airline by the government. They will only own 5% to have a government skin in that project to boost investor confidence and to be sure that this is here to stay, and also to have that sovereign color and sovereign support and sovereign shoulder to lean upon, and also to fulfill the requirements of international operations.
The year also witnessed installations of new processing and self-kiosks to enhance check-in at the airports.
When we are using manually, there was a lot of queues. Now, after we start using RESA, there is not too much queues, as you have seen, so the system is efficient.
Out of the 12 number international flights that we operate here, 10 have already queued into the new system.
Some airlines are not back operating into Nigeria, you understand. So as they are coming, we keep uploading their system. But right now, almost all the big ones are on board.
Also, air accident reporting is now digital compared to the bulky pages that have to be flipped through before obtaining information. This, the Nigeria's Accident Investigation Bureau says, makes understanding of air accident reports simpler. Emmanuel Ayemiro, NTA News.
Now let's talk safer roads. Co-Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Boboye Oyemi, restates the commitment of the Corps to the campaign of making the nation's highways safer, while urging officers and men of the Corps to remain focused on improved service delivery in justifying national confidence reposed in the Corps. The Corps-Marshal, in his New Year message, pledged continuous improvement in traffic management and safety administration in the country. The Corps-Marshal notes that though the challenges of 2021 are multifaceted with great risk in which some personnel lost their lives on patrol while trying to save others, he enjoined all to remain undeterred in carrying out their statutory obligation of making the road safer for all. On the ongoing campaign against the spread of COVID-19 and the new variant Omicron, the Corps-Marshal says the FRSC remains at the vanguard of the campaign and urged personnel of the agency and travelers to remain conscious and observe all safety protocols. Let's now join Michael in our Lagos studio for trending stories from there. Hello, Michael. And at this point, I must say it's been an honor reading with you this year.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It's been wonderful reading with you as well. 2022-1 has been described as the year of the rail revolution. This is because apart from the inauguration of one of the most strategic rail networks to trade and commerce in the sub-region, contractual agreements were sealed for the commencement of sizable number of rail projects. Our correspondent to this report examines how these initiatives will shape the goal of connecting all parts of the country to the rail network by year 2022. The rail subsector, like any other, took a bold step to eclipse the devastating effect of COVID-19 on mobility in 2021. In spite of this challenge, the prospect was to increase daily round trips to 16 on the Lagos-Ibadan rail line. Although not totally achieved, the inauguration of the project for full commercial services by President Muhammadu Buhari was a turning point, as the rail mode of transportation is now the preferred choice along the corridor.
The connection through rail would position Nigerian ports as the choice for import and export business of the people of landlocked Niger Republic.
The extension of the Lagos-Ibadan rail line by 6.8 kilometers to gain access into the port is a huge win for business owners already frustrated by the unending gridlock at their Apapa Port corridor.
The old good days of railway, moving containers, moving goods, moving farm produces, moving livestock is gradually getting back. Supply chain mechanism is being improved.
At the back of this big win, more contracts for the expansion of the rail network were signed.
The Kaduna-Kano is progressing, and the Port Harcourt-Manuguri reconstruction, we are working seriously to ensure that we achieve meaningful results. So we are also looking for funds, both for the standard gauge and to complete Calabar, Lagos.
The Kano-Maradi rail line is no doubt a game changer in the quest to make Nigerian ports preferred destination for West African-bound cargoes.
The country would earn revenue through expansion of trade and commerce.
The gains are enormous, but the low point was the use of explosives to destroy certain portion of the Abuja-Kaduna rail line, and the perceived preference for rail transportation ensured that services were restored within 48 hours. In 2022, there are optimism of increase in frequency, especially on the routes already activated, while freight service is expected to commence in March on the Lagos-Ibadan standard gauge rail line.
By 2022, we have no excuse not to meet the 16 round trips for Lagos-Ibadan and consolidate on the 12 round trips for Abuja-Kaduna. And we are also finding a way to increase the frequency of the Takpe-Warri to 6.
Just like when it was introduced on the Abuja-Kaduna route about a year ago, January 2022, she witnessed the introduction of e-ticketing on Lagos-Ibadan and Warri-Takpe rail lines, and this should lay a solid foundation for the harvest of some rail line projects that will be delivered in 2022.
The outgoing Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumosu, has appeared before the Lagos State House of Assembly to brief the legislators on efforts being made by its command to curb incessant harassment on residents by police personnel in the state. The move was informed by motion on issues of public concern on police harassment in Lagos. Musa Tolia has details.
Speaker, Lagos House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa said several complaints by the public on police harassment and extortion made it imperative to invite the outgoing Commissioner of Police to the floor of the House.
Policing must not be about harassment and making life difficult for people, extortion and others, but establishing very smooth and cordial relationship with the people.
Some legislators also made contributions to the issue.
From Agbara to Badagry down to Seme. Agisa, please use your experience. Talk to the officers. The way they are doing on that road is not okay.
They, however, commended the efforts taken by the outgoing Commissioner of Police to strengthen security architecture in the state.
You brought true professionalism into policing. The hoodlums cannot come to Lagos because of your sagacity, because of your steadfastness.
The outgoing Commissioner of Police, Hakeem Odumosu, assured Lagos lawmakers that enduring machinery has been put in place to check the excesses of police across the metropolis.
We have some bad elements in police, but I want to plead that whenever such happens, just create time, you send out the number and send the report of that to the officers. The control rooms now, those that are there, they are well-trained controllers. They have the geography of Lagos at their fingertips.
Odumosu, who was recently promoted to the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police, is the first Commissioner of Police to be invited to the floor of the House of Assembly to talk about security situation in the state. Musa Toliak, NTA News.
You're still watching Nationwide on the network service of the NTA. Let's take a short break. The news continues with Elizabeth in Abuja.
The ever-busy ancient city of Onitsha is a commercial hub with millions of commuters seamlessly linking other states daily for business, leisure, and other purposes. To upscale its road network, the construction of a 1.6-kilometer long second Niger Bridge, including a 10.3-kilometer highway furnished with other infrastructure, has been in motion by the federal government. This project will ease congestion on the existing 56-year-old Onitsha Bridge and boost the economic capacity of the state as it easily connects to other parts of the country. The completion of the world-class second Niger Bridge Onitsha will be one of the many proud moments of the state, its people, Nigerians, and foreign investors. Onitsha, which hosts the largest market in Africa, is geared up to boast of an impressive road network. Once again, these moments are made alive by the federal government, and it is deserving of all the applause.
The 2022 Armed Forces Remembrance Day celebration is here again. The Nigeria Armed Forces work tirelessly day and night to give us peace to go about our businesses. Some have paid the supreme price. Should we forget the families and loved ones they left behind? No.
I am therefore privileged to honor these veterans who devoted most of their lives, active lives, to securing the nation and the world
at large. So, let's support the Nigerian Armed Forces and their families, corporate organizations, government agencies, parastatals, and individuals. Let's show our love and support for our armed forces. They are our heroes. Buy the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem and donate into the Armed Forces Remembrance Emblem Appeal account. We love you, and your labor and sacrifice will not be in vain for spilling your blood for us to live.
From the heart of the Federal Capital Territory
to the ancient city of Kano,
from the sprawling rooftops of Ibadan
to the bustling markets of Aba and the creeks of the Niger Delta, you really can't beat the reach.
Over the years, we have kept going, keeping you informed, educated, and entertained.
And how have we survived in the very challenging year?
Because of our pillars of support, namely the 3 tiers of government: ministries, departments, and agencies,
corporate bodies and advertisers,
religious bodies,
civil society groups,
political parties, and most importantly, you, our esteemed viewers. Together, we made 2021 great.
And together, we shall make 2022 greater.
Thank you from all of us here at NTA. Your season's greetings and a prosperous new year.
African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA, powered by Afrosport. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
You're still watching Nationwide on NTA. 4 new judges of the High Court of Justice Bayelsa State have been sworn in by Governor Doye Diri. The governor charged the judges to make a public commitment to their duties with speedy dispensation of justice to everyone. Fred Owiefi reports.
The newly sworn-in judges are Christine Enengesi, James Beneboloki, Simon Warikeye Amadu Oboha, and Ama Patience Wafa. Governor Doye Diri called on the judges to protect the rights of all citizens of the state, irrespective of their status, as the Prosperity Administration will do everything possible to respect the judiciary and the rule of law.
Leave the strongholds of justice, protectors of the liberty, symbols of law and order, custodians of the rule of law, and embodiment of the hopes and dreams of our people can be treated with such impunity, we are all much poorer for it.
Governor Diri thanked the National Judicial Service Commission for endorsing the 4 nominees as judges and finding them worthy to serve, as he looked forward for the appointment of more judges from the states. From Government House, Fred Owiefi, NTA News.
And it's time to head to Sokoto, where Sadia is standing by with some reports for us. Hello, Sadia, and compliments of the season.
Compliments of the season to you too, Elizabeth. An executive bill that will provide for the establishment of a Sokoto State Arabic and Islamic Education Commission has been drafted for onward transmission to the State House of Assembly for legislative processes. This came to the fore at the closing of the 26th state-level Quranic recitation competition in Sokoto. Lat Abdullahi reports.
The Quranic recitation competition is organized annually to identify winners that would represent the state at the national level. At the 2021 competition in Sokoto State, Hassan Usman of Bodinga Local Government and Sumaya Bello of Sokoto North Local Government emerged winners in male and female categories of the competition for the memorization of complete Quran with tafsir. Sultan Muhammad Saad Abubakar decorated the 2 winners and presented them keys to brand new cars as prizes. Extolling the sustained support by government In Islamic propagation activities, the Sultan challenged the winners to rededicate themselves to winning the upcoming national competition. Sultan Saad noted that the Tertiary Education Trust Fund has donated 1 billion naira in aid of the establishment of the Center for the Caliphate Studies at the Sokoto State University. Governor Aminu Aziri Tambol congratulated the winners, adding that the state government will liaise with the Sultanate Council to ensure the printing of the Sokoto-based Quranic texts. He pledged to sponsor the recording and reproduction of the Quranic recitation by the overall winners for onward distribution to the public. The guest speaker and Emir of Ankara, Tahiru Muhammad Ahmad II, appreciated the Sokoto state government commitment in supporting religious activities and supported the participants with 2 million naira. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
The Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Reverend Matthew Hassan Kuka, says good governance should be the concern of every Nigerian, not the region or religion of the president of the country. He was speaking at an annual end-of-year interaction with the media in Sokoto. Sheikh Muhammad Detti reports.
The Most Reverend Father Hassan Kuka said the region or religion should not be the cornerstone in electing president by Nigerians, but good governance. He noted that he has a cordial relationship with President Muhammadu Buhari and the present administration. The Reverend Father supported the president's decision not to sign into law the Electoral Act, as the issue of direct and indirect primaries should be left for the political parties to decide.
My position is that we need to better fix our country. And if we don't do this and we think that because our uncles or our brothers are in power, there are many people, for example, who see injustice, who see iniquity. They keep quiet because they say, two reasons are why people keep quiet. One, let me keep quiet so that if it falls and they come to ask me, I'll say, did I say anything? Or there are those who say, okay, we'll keep quiet because our brother is in power.
He advised the National Assembly to expunge that section of direct or indirect primaries for the president to assent the bill. On how he intends to lift 50,000 Nigerians out of poverty, the cleric explained that he has a scholarship scheme and has mapped out an empowerment program that will commence soon. In Sokoto, Sheikh Muhammad Detti, NTA News.
And that's it from this end. It's now back to Elizabeth in Abuja.
Thank you, Sadia. Now, a bit of security. The multinational joint task force operations in Sharan Fagi, with support from troops of Operation Hadinkai in northeast Nigeria, has eliminated 22 Boko Haram ISOP terrorists hibernating in Malam Faturi town near the fringes of the Lake Chad. Colonel Mohammed Dole, the Chief of Military Public Information Headquarters, MNJTF, Chad, says, with support from the air component of Operation Hadinkai, other partners, with air assets and surveillance equipment, the troops successfully cleared the terrorists. 17 suspects were arrested in the general area of operations and are being profiled. 5 gun trucks, several logistic bunkers destroyed, while 8 AK-47 rifles were recovered from the criminals. However, 6 members of the JTF, comprising 2 officers and 4 soldiers, paid the supreme price during the encounter. The Joint Task Force South-South Operation Delta Safe has appreciated the federal government and the defense headquarters for their motivation, which has led improved security and increased oil and gas operations in the Niger Delta. During a briefing at the Operation Delta Safe Headquarters, Yenugua, to review operations of the force in 2021. The Commander, Rear Admiral Aminu Hassan, expressed resolve to step up security operations for more stable environment to enhance activities of oil and gas industry in the Niger Delta region. Aya Prezi reports.
The force demobilized about 1,423 illegal oil refining sites with over 4,929 storage facilities and large wooden boats. 13 ships loaded with stolen crude oil, 9 barges, 137 trucks conveying illegally refined products were also intercepted, with 567 suspects arrested and handed over to prosecuting agencies for prosecution.
Due to the sustained clearance operations of sea robbers and pirates and other criminal scams within the joint operations area, the number of sea robbery and pirates attacks in Nigerian waters as well as the Gulf of Guinea, respectively, have drastically reduced.
The commander appreciated officers and men of Operation Delta Safe and the public for their cooperation and promised to leverage on their goodwill for improved security operations in the coming year. Meanwhile, 3 officers promoted to 1-star general and its equivalent have been decorated with their new ranks. From Operation Delta Safe Headquarters, Yenagoa, Aya, Brazil, NTA News.
Following the request by stakeholders, including citizens, legal residents, and Nigerians in the diaspora, the federal government has extended the deadline for the National Identification Number (NIN) SIM registration data verification to the 31st of March 2022. A joint statement by NCC and NIMC indicates that the extension would enable the federal government to consolidate the gains of the process and accelerate the enrollment of Nigerians in key areas like remote areas, diaspora, schools, hospitals, worship centers, and the registration of legal residents. Meanwhile, as at 30th of December 2021, the National Identity Management Commission has issued over 71 million NINs with over 14,000 enrollment centers set up across the country. For the next set of reports, let's join Adebola in our Ibadan Center.
To socio-economic and infrastructural development, the governor of Osun State, Adegboyega Oyetola, has inaugurated the newly reconstructed Ada Igbajo Road after 33 years of neglect. Correspondent Bolaji Akim has details.
Igbajo Road had been in a deplorable and neglected for about 33 years. The 13.15-kilometer road was first constructed under the defunct Western region by the then Premier, late Obafemi Awolowo, in the mid-50s and reconstructed in 1988 by the military government of Old Oyo State and had been hated to become a death trap for motorists and commuters alike. The Ada Igbajo Road, as explained by Governor Boyega Oyetola, is of strategic importance as it stretches to the ancient Igbajo that played a significant role in the history of Yoruba, particularly the Kiriji War.
As you all are aware, in addition to undertaking massive road construction and rehabilitation across the state, we have, as a government, embarked on the completion of all the uncompleted roads by predecessors, including federal roads.
The road construction, which was flagged off in September 2020, will stimulate social economic development of the area. In Igbajo, Osun State, Bolaji Akim, NTA News.
Full implementation of judicial autonomy and synergy among various courts of records are pivotal to qualitative justice delivery. This was the consensus of speakers at the public presentation of Kwara State Sharia Court of Appeal Law Report to mark the commencement of the new 2021-2022 legal year. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya reports.
The Kwara State Sharia Court of Appeal Ilorin has over the years been performing both adjudicatory, non-adjudicatory and arbitral roles using Islamic law and Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Despite the COVID-19 lockdown and Judicial strike, the court was able to dispose about 60 appeals and motions, while over 300 non-adjudicatory requests were addressed. As people continue to embrace Sharia courts to resolve various issues, the Grand Qadi said the court is up to task, but appealing for more enabling environments to operate.
In the new legal year and years ahead, I wish to pledge our new commitments and vigor at ensuring quality justice delivery to all and sundry. The challenge to us as a body is to reinvent and re-establish these common values that make the role of this court critical in the current predicament of our socio-political experience.
A rebranded law report covering 2016 to 2020 was presented for easy referencing and accessibility to legal authorities to enhance justice delivery as well as legal research. Aisha Abubakar Yahaya, NTA News.
Time now for another break. Salamatu in Kaduna shall take over after this timeout.
We know that in the last decade, this country has been at different wars trying to keep the peace and promote the sovereignty and the integrity of the country. The troops are doing their best. The president has given them all the necessary tools. It is left for us as young people and as Nigerians to give them all the support we can. We say kudos to all our gallant military men. Please, whenever you see a police officer in or out of uniform, if you know them, clap for them whenever they need be. Give them seats in buses and trains and airplanes. Have the airline managers reduce air tickets for them or train tickets for them. Show them that we appreciate what they do and show their families that there is something right and honorable and truly remarkable about wearing a uniform and going into the bushes and the forest to fight enemies of this country that are hell-bent in bringing your life to an end. It's a very tough time, but we have to all put our hands together. Please support our troops and support our police officers.
Candidates who are interested in gaining admission into NTA TV College, JOS, for the 2021-2022 two-year National Innovation Diploma Program are to apply for admission through the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, JAMB. Courses available for application include film and television production, broadcast journalism, and television engineering technology. Such candidates must have a minimum of 5 O-level credits in relevant subjects, including English language and mathematics. For inquiries, please call 0803-079-5335 or 0806-980-9807. Management Announcer.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk, app for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.
African Cup of Nations starts on the 9th of January 2022 on NTA, powered by Afrosports. For sponsorship and advertisements, contact us on 090-9890-6913 or 090-3513-2838.
Katsina State Police Command has attributed the reduction in crimes within the outgoing year 2021 to the proactive measures taken and synergy among security operatives in the state. Dauda Mohammed reports that the command arrested a total of 999 suspects in connection with 680 reported cases this year. The report.
The Katsina State Police Command, in its review of activities in the year, observed a marked decrease in the number of reported cases and arrests of suspects from the previous year. 157 suspected armed robbers were arrested, out of which 145 have been charged to court, while 12 suspects are still under investigation. 65 suspected kidnappers were also arrested, in addition to 244 suspected cattle rustlers. Though 5 police officers lost their lives in the course of the year, 38 criminals were neutralized during the gun battles with the police.
We have put in place
motorized roving patrols, where police officers are going to ensure a hitch-free Yuletide festivities.
The police in Katsina also recovered various arms in the course of the year, which include 4 general-purpose machine guns, 44 AK-47 rifles, 20 locally made guns and ammunition of different calibers, including various animals. 63 victims were also rescued, while 20 vehicles and 18 motorcycles were recovered. In Katsina, Dauda Mohammed, NTA News.
Succor comes the way of persons living with disability in Jigawa State as the government begins implementation of the Persons Living with Disability Law, part of which demands the provision of trust fund aimed at addressing challenges facing citizens with such needs in the state. Muhammad Askira reports that Governor Muhammad Badaru Abubakar has launched the trust fund, which beneficiaries described as a good thing to happen to their lives.
Education, you are talking of accessibility, you are talking of health and other welfares of persons living with disability. Government cannot do it alone. That is why part of the section of this law is the disability fund.
It is a long-term struggle for governments and members of the Joint Association of Persons Living with Disability in Jigawa State. These special people have been crying over years for the need to treat them with dignity and respect by the rest of the members of the society. They have suffered low enrollment in school, difficulty in getting access to healthcare services, and employment opportunity into the civil service and empowerment program. It is therefore hoped that the launching of this trust fund, the days of stigmatization, marginalization, and discrimination against persons living with disability might be over in the state.
Disability is, we can say, is a living in challenges.
About 30 million naira were pledged by the governments and private organizations and spirited individuals during the launching of the fund, in addition to the monthly donation by the state civil servants, including the state governor, who sacrifices part of his salary to the fund.
We have empowered over 154,000 people from various sectors of the economy. And this is to ensure that people are given a means of livelihood. Now, in addition to that, so many social protections policy has come in. The cash transfer has been on ground, and today at least about more than 5,000 people, pregnant women, are receiving monthly stipends.
Even before the launching of this fund, Jigawa State government has so far spent over 5 billion naira on social security allowances to the persons living with disability through 7,000 naira cash transfer to the eligible beneficiaries across the 27 local government areas of the state. From Dutse, Muhammad Askira, NTA News.
And that completes our package from Kaduna. Is back to Elizabeth in Abuja.
Thank you, Salamatu, and compliments of the season. Now, talking health, the Niger Center for Disease Control has confirmed 1,139 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. A breakdown of the cases shows that Rivers State has the highest number of the day with 420 new cases, followed by Lagos with 324 cases. Oyo has 81, Gombe 47, Akwa Ibom 41, while Kaduna and Niger have 36 new cases each. Others are Ondo with 35 cases, FCT 29, Delta 18, Edo 15, Ogun 14, Kano 12, and Cross River 9. Ekiti and Kebbi have 8 cases each, Nasarawa 4, while Enugu and Jigawa have 1 case. This figure brings the total number of confirmed cases in Nigeria to 241,513. So far, 214,003 cases have been treated and discharged, while 3,030 persons have died from the virus. The federal government is to deploy additional 145,000 tractors that will assist smallholder farmers boost their farming activities. Minister of Agriculture and Rural Development Mohammed Mahmoud Abubakar said this while chatting with Musa Aliu in Abuja. The minister said agreement has been concluded with Nigeria, Brazil and Belarus for the deployment of the heavy-duty farming equipment.
So we are really gearing towards mechanization because that is what will make the production of grains and other agricultural products easy, especially for a population of 200 million and growing at that. Absolutely, it's going to be available to smallholder farmers. We have our cooperative department, which will now put the farmers into cooperatives and work towards making sure that they can afford to own and work with tractors.
The minister explained government's plans for farmers for the year 2022.
And now we have the agricultural technology transformation that we are working on. And this is to key in the agricultural sector into the digital age. Smart agriculture, which will also help the climate. And to also make it more productive, we put less and produce more. And that's part of the mechanization also.
Residents of Makurdi, the Benue State capital, have decried the continuous hike in prices of food and non-food items as they make their last-minute purchases to celebrate the new year. Sandat Woshiakame has a situation report.
A visit to some of the major markets in the metropolis shows that there were beehive of activities as people were rushing to do their last-minute shopping for the festive celebration. This residents attributed to the non-payment of workers and also believed that prices of food and non-food items would have gone down.
The price has gone up, but we know that there is need for us to have a cow like this for celebration.
No matter how it's meager, you can afford the little things that God has given to you with your family. That is all about it.
The festive season, which usually experiences increase in sales for some traders, is the other way round, as most business centers are without the usual late customers.
People cannot allow you keep their clothes up to this time because most of them are traveling.
Compared to other festive period, like last year, last 2 years, the market was flowing. But right now, the prices for everything, as you can see, the prices for my goods, my customers are complaining.
King's oil now is 29,000 naira, which this is the highest we sold in the history of King's oil.
The rate at which people make dresses now is actually low.
No market because no money. People they are come and carry cow without to pay.
They are optimistic that things will improve in the coming year, 2022. In Makurdi, Sandra Doisi Akeme, NTA News.
Next is Sports Update with Clement Olontoba.
The camp of the Super Eagles have continued to swell as more invited players arrive Abuja ahead of the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations in Cameroon. New faces in the camp include Sadiq Umar, Daniel Akpenyi, and Chidera Ejuke to join the early bells of Taiwo Awoniyi, John Nobu, and Olisa Nda. Meanwhile, draws for the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar will hold 1st of April 2022 in the host country. 13 countries have so far qualified in Europe, while 10 African countries have emerged and waiting for final of the qualifier in Africa, slated for March to join the rest of the qualified countries that will take part in the draw. And finally, in a bid to develop the game of volleyball in the 36 states of the country, President of the Nigeria Volleyball Federation, Musa Nimrod, has donated 300 balls of 50 each to the zonal representatives of the 6 geopolitical zones.
We have created a volleyball profile. Most of you, a lot of you players are inside the profile. And I'm proud to say this is the only federation that has a profile.
This is to ensure that all parts of the country have a feel of the game. With sports updates, Clement Oloruntoba, NT News.
And Sports Update ends nation.